20 on me, case emergency. Ain't no cap in my rap. Real I know it's the truck. More profit mean extra. Emerald white out full of pressure. That cereal milk smoking right. But that Obama rent some special. Kansas City, I'm a chief. Shout out to K5 on new one. Country thuggin', I was hustling. I always had it on me. Booming like OJ the Juice. Till a nigga told on me. From now on, it's relentless. Ain't no love, we ain't friendly. If she want me on him. No the law, she get the business. No the law, still the motto. Empire.
Hello. Welcome in. This is the Birds of a Feather podcast with your boy Q City. We're gonna look back at what went wrong in the Bucs game. We're gonna look ahead to next week versus Carolina. Go around the league and in division. See what the betting points are and give me props, and then some city talk at the end. So come along with me and enjoy this ride. So last week was rough, man. We ended up losing to Tampa 30-17. And I think what frustrated me so much about this game is that it looked like we were in position to win it at some point. It never really felt like we were out of it until just really a boneheaded decision in the fourth quarter. Let's go ahead and get into it. So Tampa gets the ball first. We won the toss, but we deferred, put our defense on the field, and they just came out straight passing. Tom Brady completed 9 passes on that first drive, capped out. He ended up hitting Fournette in the back of the end zone over Jones. Now, he was racking up completions, but they were very easy completions. We were playing way off. And it was a theme all day where, like, our corners are 6-7 yards of separation, and they're just hitting us with quick screens. The final play of the drive, passing to Fournette, it was a beautifully thrown ball right over Jones's head. He just kind of got caught in no man land. You could see that Tom isn't really a running threat, but you don't want the quarterback to just waltz in. So, he comes down under the running back, and Tom throws it over his head and just delivers a beautiful ball because he's Tom. He's the GOAT. He is who he is. I really appreciated the drive we got coming out of that, though. You're down 7-0. You get the ball on your first drive. You run the ball. Run the ball right down their throat. You're going right at them. And they found something. Even the broadcaster said it. They found something on that right side and continue to attack it over and over again. Patterson gets a huge run, and he's able to, I think it was about 30 some odd yards on that one run following a block on the right side yet again. And he comes out for a breather. Mike Davis, in one of his rare shining moments, is able to finish that drive off with a touchdown. Also on the right side. They didn't run to the left like that. So, bam. It's 7-7. After 2 drives, you're looking like you can match them point for point. And if you remember what I was talking about last week, I said that Tampa's defense is a great rushing defense, but it's because they don't face a lot of rushes. What tends to happen is Tom comes out like he did, and they get up 7-0. And then he does like he did the next drive and scores a touchdown, and then it's 14-0 because you failed to score. I kind of see exactly where we fell into that trap, but we'll get to it as we go on. So the next drive, they're still passing. Evans gets a huge play over AJ, who particularly did not have a good day on the all-22 or on the field. Like, you can see it. AJ, something's off because this is 2 games back-to-back where he's not playing at that Pro Bowl, all-pro level that he was playing with before. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't know what to make of it because he had about a 6-7 week stretch where I was consistently calling him one of the best corners in football, not in the NFC, in football. You know what I'm saying? And the last 2 weeks have just been back-to-back bad, and quarterbacks are kind of staying away from throwing his way. And so you may not be able to expose it in that way, but If you look at the film, or you see when the big play is allowed, like it was to Evans, or like a future play that Tom just missed on the third down, you see that AJ's not playing well right now. So they get down close to the goal line, and you get this hold on Gronk by Harmon. They end up getting basically onto the 1 yard line, and then they throw the ball to Brate. It was a quick drive, very quick drive. Side note, that catch by Brate was also over Deion Jones, and it's like, damn, Tom, you just picking on him? It's not like Deion kind of hangs his head on the fact that like he's a coverage linebacker, and I think that's the thing that's underrated about Tom, is that he'll demoralize you in the sense of what you think you're good at, he's going to show you you're not. Kind of like people talk about like Jordan and Kobe, that mindset. Like Tom is very much like that, where it's like, oh, you think you're a good cover linebacker? I'm going to attack you specifically. And so, yeah, that's really how they handled the day. They go up 13-7 because they missed the extra point right there. The Falcons, they get the ball. You're going into the drive. Now, this is where most teams mess up. And I could see it's where we messed up, because at this point in time, we should have continued to run the ball. We should have continued to pound the rock, run the ball. They hadn't made adjustments because we were able to get a first down running the ball. We get a nasty play action, and Sharp drops the ball in the middle of the field. And when you're playing a team like Tampa, every mistake is magnified. Every mistake, every single play just means more, because you know you're at a talent deficit. You are at a talent deficit against this type of team. And so you can't afford to drop a ball on second and 8 or 2nd and 7. And it was a deep gashing play to the middle of the field. Matt delivered the ball on time, on target. Sharp just dropped it. Just plain and simple, he dropped it. You come back, and now you're in a 3rd and long situation, and you get sacked. Matt gets sacked. He goes down. Bam. Your defense holds, though, because the Bucs go 3 and out. Now, you got a gift, because Tom, he missed Gronk in the middle of the field, wide open. Wide open. He let him long. He just missed him. And it was because we got little pressure on him. Little bit of pressure on him. So he missed Gronk's on 3rd down. They go 3 and out. They punt the ball. You got this huge play on the sideline to Pitts, right? Big 3rd down conversion. You running the ball. You got a decent mix of run and pass, but you really are focusing on running the ball, because you've realized that Tampa's run defense is a bit overrated. It's because they don't face a lot of runs. Most teams that are in that position, if you go back, Tom doesn't miss that ball to Gronk, right? He doesn't miss that ball to Gronk. And then he goes down and scores, and instead of 13-7, you're looking at, they made the extra point. You're looking at 21-7. Most teams start to panic. You're still very much in this game at this point. You're still very much in this game because Tampa is miscuing. So you get down to the half-yard line. The 1/2 yard line after a Tampa Bay penalty. You run 4 plays from the 1/2 yard line. You run 4 plays from the 1 yard line, because you ran 1 play, they had a penalty, and then you ran 3 more plays. 2 play actions and a fumbled snap. And you have to kick a field goal from the half-yard line. That's the type of stuff that keeps you from being an upper echelon team. Because you had an opportunity to take the lead, making the extra point, or at the bare minimum, tie it. And then for me personally, it bothered me that Coach Smith did not go for the touchdown in that manner. You didn't run the ball, not one time. We don't know what the fumble play snap was going to be. This rotation at center that you just absolutely are saying that you have to do is complete bullshit, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Pick a center, stick with a center. I personally would just stick with Hennessy. You use the draft pick on him, Just keep him there. Let him figure it out. Because you switching back and forth between him and Darmond, like it's stupid, and it's killing the line just in general. Your center's the one who points out and makes calls in conjunction with the quarterback, and you're switching that guy out for what reason? For what reason? If you want to start Hennessy, just start him. Keep him in the game. Keep him in the game. Because there was, to my count, was it two? It was 2 bad snaps, 2 fumbled snaps in this game alone. And this just happened on the goal line. On the goal line with an opportunity for you to take the lead and take advantage of this game. So you kick the field goal. Tampa goes on one of those drives that just demoralize you. 3 converted third downs on this drive alone. And then they hit Gronk in the middle of the field. They hit Gronk in the middle of the field on third down. On third down. And the part that pissed me off about this third down in particular was because they were trying to run a very funky zone where they dropped the D lineman back into coverage and brought the linebacker on the blitz. That zone blitzing scheme, Tom Brady has seen 100,000 times. And the part that was like just ironic to me to the highest degree was the fact that Jonathan Vilma gave a story right before this play. Like literally the last third down conversion, Jonathan Vilma was telling a story about how the fact you can't confuse Tom Brady because he's seen these things over and over again. And he called out their defense when he was playing against him for the Jets. Falcons try to trick him, and it ends in a Gronk touchdown. It was, like I said, ironic. The Falcons get the ball back, and they're moving the ball pretty decently. They get across half field, and then they get stopped. The drive was only kept going by a holding call, but getting stopped across midfield, you're like, all right, cool. We're going to punt them. We're going to punt it, pin them deep. Tampa got greedy. Tampa got greedy on this because like that mentality I talked about earlier. Tom wants to demoralize you. They want to get you out the game early and pour it on. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of why I took the over on the on Tom's touchdowns, because like when he is facing an inferior opponent, he does like to pour it on a stat pad. So I definitely thought they were going to try to get points before half, especially considering that they weren't getting the ball after half. Kind of put us away early. That pick 6 by Davidson was a great play. Like as a D lineman, you're really taught see ball, get ball. To have the wherewithal to see the guard sliding and stop your rush and then slide over to the side, get the ball off, pick the ball off, and get into the end zone. Like, one, it happened so fast that I don't even think Tom realized that the rush wasn't coming, because he was very comfortable in the pocket like pretty much all day, and that the D lineman had shifted outside and was picking the ball. Like, it was one of those things you thought the guy just like dropped, like batted it down, and then you're realizing like, oh damn, he caught it, he's in the end zone. And even hearing the announcers, they're like, yo, that was an incredibly athletic play. Soft hands, good feel, good awareness. Like that was a really, really good play by Davidson. I hate the fact that because of that touchdown right there, you can honestly say that our offense and defense scored the same amount of touchdowns today in a loss. And that is never a good thing. So they get the ball back, they take a knee. Going into halftime, we're running the ball great. We've got 2 drops at this point and penalties on Tampa. Penalties are killing Tampa at that point. We don't have a bunch of penalties at that time. We're having bad zones, just trying to outsmart Brady, but realizing that we cannot stop the Bucs offense. Those were the keys going into halftime. We're not going to stop this offense. Our hope is to outscore them. At this point, we've only held them to 2 3-and-outs. And in total, at this point, they only had 4 drives. Each team had 4 drives. So, all right, we're doing good. We're doing good. Or each team had 5 drives. We're doing good. That pick 6, extremely helpful. Anytime your defense can score. And like the numbers of the game, it always talks about like if your defense scores, it raises your win percentage by like 10 points or some crazy number like that. Like most times when your defense scores, you have a great chance of winning the game. We come out of halftime and fumble on the first freaking play. Like what kind of shit is this, bruh? Why? You fumble right out of half. It doesn't kill you because they go 3 and out, and that's the drive I was talking about where Mike clean beat AJ clean off the line. AJ didn't get out of his stance till Mike was right up on him, and Tom just missed. But Mike Evans was walking in for 6 on that one. Like it was. Listen, something's up with AJ. It was a bad game. They punt it, so they're not able to capitalize on the fumble. And then this is where Arthur Smith does some really, really good and creative play calling. And I was incredibly pleased by it. I was surprised, really, honestly and truly. He comes out with a reverse. Then you do a rollout right to Gage, who breaks 3 tackles and gets a first down. You're rolling. You're past midfield. You stop. You don't run the ball right here. You do a short pass, and then you try to set up for a pass that's incomplete. Then you get sacked on 3rd down, and Mayfield gets beat clean off the line. It's going to be a sack on Mayfield, but this one, I want to say that the protection wasn't lined up properly, and it could have been because of the center exchange, the center being swapped out. Because if you look at this play, it looked like Mayfield went to guard the outside edge rusher, and the tackle was supposed to kick back out because I think a DB had lined up on the outside, so it looked like they were bringing outside pressure. They did not, so Vita Vea basically became, was it Vea on this one? No, Sue came completely unblocked, and just straight up destroyed Ryan on that 3rd down. So Atlanta punts the ball. At this point in time, you are still very, very much clean into the game. And then Tampa goes on one of their drives. 13 plays, 86 yards, 3 first downs on it. 3 of those first downs came on 3rd down, ending with a touchdown to Gronk. It was just a mix of running pass, short screens to Godwin. Mike caught one over the middle. It was a clinical drive. It was a clinical drive, and it put the game away. It put the game away, not literally to the point that the nail was in the coffin. By the time we got the ball back, it was early 4th quarter. And so I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, we got the ball back. It's early. Let's see what we can do. It's a 3 and out, and we're sacked on 3rd down because Vita Vea comes through and he owns Mayfield on this play. Mayfield is playing terribly. I understand it's his rookie season, but 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round picks are expected to be starters on your team. And right now, he's looking like a whiff. He is looking like a whiff. A major one, because he is getting owned. He is getting owned disrespectfully by most upper echelon defensive tackles. And he is the weak link on the line. The Bucs gift you with a 3 and out, and then Matt gets intentional grounding. Matt gets the Bucs give you the ball back and keep you in the game, because I think they did 3 straight passes, if I'm not mistaken. So it took almost no time off the clock. Atlanta gets the ball back, down 2 scores. You're like, okay, 17-27. We've got to mount a score right here. And this is the part that really just rookie coach not having the guts, not having the balls, or just truly being unaware of time scoring situation. Matt gets intentional grounding. It's 4th and like 7. But there's only 7 minutes left. The thing about it is, you realize that you have not stopped their offense all day. Under no circumstance at any time have you truly stopped their offense today. They gifted you a 3 and out before. You haven't made anything to truly stop their offense today. Why would you punt the ball back with 7 minutes left, down 2 scores? It's 4th and 7. It's 4th and 7 on like your 35, 40-yard line. It doesn't really matter. It could have been on your 20. If it's 4th and 7, bro, the game is over if they get the ball back. It doesn't matter how they get the ball back. And that's not like Monday morning quarterbacking or like trying to make it seem like, oh, the coach would do something different in this situation. Prime example, look at the Ravens and Steelers game. The Ravens are always going to go for that 2. And you know why you go for 2 in that situation? Because I don't want to play you in overtime. I want to go ahead and get you off the field and get it out. And you can't just be results oriented, because earlier in the year they went for 4th and 2 against the Chiefs with the same exact mindset that if I give you the ball, the game is over. If I give you the ball, the game is over. So put it on my players. Give me a chance to win it. I was so disappointed in Coach Smith not going for that 4th and 7 right there. And the thing about it is, you were punished for it immediately. It was a long drive. Godwin had 4 catches on the drive, and it ended in a field goal. It was 30-17. Your offense has scored 1 touchdown today. So what? You're going to score 2 touchdowns in 4 minutes? It's not. No. I think it was 3 minutes left. It's not happening. Atlanta goes 3 and out. Tampa holds the ball till the end of the game. And that's it. The major takeaways today was Pease was lost defensively. Like, trying to fool Tom Brady is a fool's errand. We had no sacks on the day. Barely any pressure. He tore us apart in the pass game. Godwin had 15 catches. Gronk had 4, but 2 of them went for touchdowns. Pease got ripped apart. And I don't know if you're going to keep saying that it's personnel. Obviously, it's personnel in the sense that our personnel hasn't changed throughout the year. You know, it's still the same year, same season. But I expect much more schematically, especially when you're looking at the fact that, like, our corners are playing 7-8 yards off. We're getting absolutely no pass rush. And we're doing zone blitzes against a person who's seen every type of blitz known to man. So it looked like you were unprepared against Tom, which he can address a lot of defensive coordinators. So I try not to hold that one super against you. And you had 2 decent games back to back against Jacksonville and the Patriots defensively. Granted, those are rookie quarterbacks, but I can't down you too much because you're playing to go. But he did not have a good defensive game plan today. Did not call a good game. And second straight game, AJ did not play well. I hate to harp on it, but, you know, I sing his praises when I felt like he was one of the best corners in the league. Right now, he is struggling. Teams are always going to go at Fabian Moreau. You know what I'm saying? Just, you're the opposite side of what's supposed to be a really good corner in the league. So you're going to see a lot of matchups. You're going to see a lot of balls thrown your way. Tom is the king of that. Actually, what he really focused on is when Richie Grant went out, he went and attacked that piece of the secondary. So Richie may be a decent player, or Tom just recognized, hey, you're on your 4th corner. I'm going to put my 3rd receiver against your 4th corner. Another thing about AJ, he did not travel today. That is becoming a huge pet peeve for me in the defense. Whatever your defensive scheme is, why is it not allowed to flip and let AJ travel with the receivers unless they're in a trips formation? Hell, even if they are in trips, put them on Mike. Put them on Mike or put them on Godwin once you see Godwin start eating like that for the day. But to have AJ not travel at all, and he never travels, is getting super frustrating, because you're just allowing teams to play to the other side of the field and play against What is one of your better defensive players? You don't have too many defensive playmakers. You don't have too many. So why would you not highlight and accent their good qualities? It makes no sense. Coach Smith, bad in the half and end of game with the punt with 7 minutes left. I kind of harped on that. And he didn't run on 3rd and 2 with 2 timeouts. He gave up on the run. That was the extremely frustrating part. Was I felt like we gave up on the run when it was working for us. Like I said, you see a game unfold within itself. Tampa gets up 2 scores on somebody and they stop running. They stop running the ball and they fall right into Tampa having a vicious pass rush. And then at that point, you end the game with 40, 50, 60 rushing yards. And it's like, oh, Tampa has this awesome rush defense. Like, no, they face a low amount of rushes because people are afraid to run the ball on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, when you're down 14, but it's early in the game, continue running the ball. Continue running the ball. And at no point in time till like close to the end were we down 14. We were down 10 for a good portion of the game, especially after that pick 6. Brady had 368, 4 touchdowns, 82.4 in his QBR and 112.2 in his rating. I mentioned those numbers because we're going to talk about them in City Talk. They had almost no running game. Fournette had 44 yards rushing, but he had 7 catches for 48 yards and touchdown. Evans 7 for a buck. Gronk 4 for 58, and Godwin had 15 for damn near 150. Defensively, they killed us. Sue had 2 sacks. Vea had 2 sacks. Gill had a sack. 5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 4 passes deflected. Suffocating defensively. We had no sacks on Brady. Gage had a really good day. He went 11 for 130, and Pitts went 4 for 48 with 7 targets. That's not bad. 4 catches, 7 targets. You had a pretty decent day. It was really highlighted by that one big pass along the sideline. Matt 297, no picks, no touchdown, no picks, no touchdowns. He had a 93.2 rating, but a 23.8 QBR. Like I said, talk about it in City Talk. We stopped running. Patterson had 13 rushes for 78 yards. We were over 50% on 3rd down, 9 for 17. These are actually Matt throwing for almost 300 yards. Patterson averaging over 5. What is that? 13 times 5 is 15, 165. So he's averaging over 5 yards a carry. You got Patterson averaging over 5 yards a carry. Matt for almost 300 yards. Russell Gage over $130. Pitts damn near 50 yards and over 50% on 3rd down. If I gave you those numbers against any team, 9 times out of 10, you'd be like, oh yeah, nah, we were extremely close in that game if we didn't win. We had 1 offensive touchdown. Our offense put up 10 points. All those numbers, our offense put up 10 points. We just got to be better. Got to be better, especially against another division opponent coming up. So we're going to learn from this one. We're going to learn from this one that we can't give up on what's working for us. Flush it. Move on to next week.
Hey you guys, it's your boy Q City. As you know, I love Atlanta. Its teams, its venues, but more importantly, its culture creators. 15, XV like the Roman numeral, is a brand line dedicated to capturing the essence of the city. Their gifted artists have clothing that not only show their support for the thriving Atlanta teams, but also show their true talent. Black created, owned, and operated, 15 has a special offer for Birds of a Feather listeners. Go to 15.weebly.com and type in promo code QCity15 to get 15% off on your first order. That's QCITY15. for 15% off on your first order. 15 FIFTXVN.weebly.com. Excellence is waiting for you.
All right, so next week we're facing a 5-7 Carolina team coming off a bye week. We've officially entered the playoffs when it comes to facing NFC teams. We've got one game against an AFC team, Buffalo, that it doesn't overly matter whether we win or lose against them if we handle our business with the other teams. It's win or go home time, especially in terms of division. We're not going to catch Tampa at this point. We're 2 games behind them. Tampa could lose out at this point and still win. So we're over hitting the division. We're aiming for the wild card at this point. Preferably, I would love the 6th seed, but hell, let's just get in and see what happens at this point. A 7 seed puts us at a 2-7 matchup against Green Bay in the first round, going up to Lambeau. That would be very hard, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's look at facing Carolina. Carolina's coming off the bye, and they let go of Joe Brady. If you remember him, he was the passing game coordinator for that LSU team that was just crazy, bananas. He hadn't fully utilized Darnold at all, and the word on the street was the fact that they wanted to run the ball more. Joe Brady wanted to pass the ball more. Personally, I feel like when you are around elite quarterback talent, you tend to think that throwing the ball a lot is going to work, because throwing the ball a lot does work with elite quarterback talent. Sam Darnold, I feel like we can honestly say at this point, truly together in unison, he is not an elite quarterback talent. He's not even a good quarterback. And finally, we can admit that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was holding off saying it. Sam Darnold is not a good quarterback. He's not even starting right now because he's hurt for the rest of the year. They got Cam, and I love Cam, but Cam is not a good quarterback. Cam is a powerful quarterback, which means he is definitely going to be part of the run action that they have, but Christian McCaffrey isn't playing as well. When he's not on the field, they are a totally different team. And Sam Hubbard, who played against us last game, we can't allow him to go for 84 yards again. He had, 22 carries, 84 yards? 22 carries, 82 yards. And Darnold had 66 on the ground. Now, Cam can honestly get 66, 70. Cam can run the hell out of a ball. But I don't see him getting the damn near 200 passing yards. 212 passing yards that Sam got. We should be able to contain Cam Newton in the passing game at pretty much all points of the game. It's a Cam homecoming. DJ Moore had 54 yards as a leading receiver in the last game that we played them. He's a deep threat, and Cam has a beautiful deep ball. So that combination together is scary and deadly. Because hell, the last game they played, he had 4 receptions for 104 yards. He can go deep. They had 2 sacks versus Miami. We really have to shore up our interior line, because D Brown from Auburn can wreck a game. If we let him, especially if they line him up over the Hennessy Mayfield combination. So we've got to have a steady diet of running the ball to make sure that we keep Matt out of harm's way. Because Matt is kind of getting that folding chair syndrome, which I hate, but I understand because he's older. Which is like, as soon as he feels pressure, because he's so focused on like not fumbling the ball, he just goes down. Folding chair. Phil Snow is the D coordinator, and he's followed rule for a while now. He runs standard 4-3, relies on heavy man concepts, pressure with your front four, and pressure from your front four. He blitzes secondary pieces. He blitzes from the secondary and drops his linebackers into coverage, which is really creative and caused Matt a lot of problems. Their cover 3 is deadly. It really confused Matt the last time we played. He had 2 picks against them. And I think when you view Matt, Kurt Warner said it best. He makes so many big time throws, and then he just has confusing decision making. Because I seen him tear apart our cover three, Seattle's cover three. He tore it apart specifically, but Seattle rarely ever blitzes, and if they do bring pressure, they bring it from the linebackers. I didn't think that bringing it from the secondary made that much of a difference, but it sped up the processing so much that one of the picks was just a gimme that pick, and the other pick was just a terrible read. Now, you got to put things into context. This was the game where Ridley decided not to play right before kickoff. You know what I'm saying? Just, I got to step away from mental health. So I totally understand the game plan being built to have Ridley there for the week and then him not being there. And Gage, Zacchaeus, Pitts have stepped into those roles with Ridley out. I definitely believe that we will be in a better position to attack the defense this go around. Pitts will probably be guarded by Gilmore again. They bracketed him. Gilmore shut him down, pretty much held him to, I think it was 2 receptions, 28 yards, almost nothing. You know what I'm saying? After coming off 2 really highly productive games. Even if that's the case this week, I think we have enough on the outside, especially with them being a little thin at corner, to be able to challenge them in other ways and maybe force them into zones rather than, that heavy man concept that they like to keep. CP has to kill with the run game. Last time we played them, he hadn't taken over the lead back role. He only had 9 attempts, and Mike Davis had 9 attempts. We need a steady dose of Patterson getting about 18, I would say 15 to 18 carries, a high average number. This is a team that we've got to put our foot on. We've got to put our foot on. We need a Luakon to. I'm definitely taking the over on his tackles. I don't even know what it is yet, but I'm taking the over on his tackles. We need him heavy in the run game. We got to feel his presence. And Davidson and Grady have to clog up the middle. There's no reason that we should lose this game against Carolina, especially considering that any hope we have for the playoffs rides upon it. Now, if you remember me saying a couple weeks ago, we need to go 2-1 in this 3-game stretch. We're 1-1 as of now. Carolina is a must win. If we want to have any hope at the playoffs, any hope at anything we want to do, this is win or go home type of situation. This is really like fastest gun in the West, loser goes home type situation. Because if we lose, there's no way climbing out the hole. You've got 8 losses. Even if you win completely out and go 9-8, you'll have your NFC record will be like too bad for you to get in. It won't happen for you. You got 2 wins versus AFC teams. No, you've got 3 wins versus AFC teams. You've got a win against Giants, Carolina, and the Saints. You only got 3 wins versus NFC teams. That's it. The rest of your wins have come against AFC opponents. So even if you win out, your NFC record is not going to be good enough to make it. This is win or go home. Win or go home. And you're in this mode against every NFC opponent that you face from here on out. We've got to win this game. Plain and simple. Get your popcorn ready. Let's get ready for battle this weekend. In Division is sponsored by Courtney Hagen's Credit Repair. Bad credit ain't cute. Get your credit right at CourtneyHagans.com. Hey you guys, Q City here. Me personally, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. But the one thing that's always held me back, not having my credit right. Credit is super important, especially where we are in life. Go to CourtneyHagans.com to get your credit right. Bad credit ain't cute. CourtneyHagins.com. That's Courtney, HAGINS.com. Use promo code QCity15 to get a free consultation. So, in division, we looking at it, Cardinals got the 1 seed. They're 10-2. They beat Chicago 33-22. Just knocked them down. They are on a roll. First team in the whole NFL, I'm pretty sure, to get the double-digit wins. So, yeah, they're riding super high. The Packers sitting at 9-3 with the bye week. If they're able, the Cardinals lose one more game and they got identical records, 14-3 at the end of the season, Packers get the 1 seed because they beat Arizona. So that is definitely something to watch. The Bucs are also sitting at 9-3, beat Atlanta obviously. The Cowboys sitting at 8-4. They beat New Orleans on Thursday, 27-17. The Rams beat Jacksonville. They destroyed them 37-7. They're sitting in the 5 spot, first wild card spot, but they're also sitting at 8-4, which is really interesting because can you imagine Cowboys Rams for the first playoff game? Like, that got $40 million. That got $40 million a year. And the Rams trade away every first round draft pick from here to 2027 or some shit like that. Like, one of those teams is going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. That's interesting. That's interesting. San Fran gonna be in the 6th spot right now. They've got 6 wins. They're sitting at 6-6. They lost to Seattle, and we need to thank Seattle for that loss. Any loss for San Fran right now and the Washington football team is great for us, especially considering Washington has the tiebreaker over us, and we face San Fran later. Washington football team, they beat Las Vegas 17-15. It was a really funky game toward the end there, but they won it. The Eagles beat the brakes off the Giants, off the Jets, 33-18. Wasn't even close. They're a half game back just because, they haven't played yet, but they got 6 wins as well. There is a 2-win drop-off from the 5 seed to the 6 seed. But from the 6 seed to the 12 spot? From the 6 seed to the 12 spot, it's a game and a half. So it's literally the Rams are slotted into that 5 spot. I don't think they're going to lose. What would they have to lose? 5 out of their last 6 to drop out? I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. But from 6 to 12, it's all fluid. At 9, you've got New Orleans. They're 5-7. They should be buried. They shouldn't have anything left at this point. They lost Jameis. Taysom is hot garbage on a sack, and Simeon is he's the garbage juice from the hot garbage on a sack. So their whole quarterback room is either injured or terrible. And so they should continue to lose. Not only because I hate the Saints, but literally just from a football perspective. No matter how brilliant offensively Sean Payton is, he does not have a quarterback. And you're not going to be able to manufacture offense that way. New Orleans should be dropping out, but they're in the 9 spot right now at 5-7. Minnesota is at 5-7 as well. They're in the 10 spot. And there's a reason that everybody's in 5. Everybody's at 9, 10, 11, 12, even with the same record. It has to do with NFC wins, in division record, conference record. So Minnesota's at 5-7, and Minnesota they honestly don't deserve to be anywhere at all. They lost to the Lions, and I'm glad it wasn't us that gave the Lions their first win of the year, but you lost to the Lions on the last play of the game, and they've been in heartbreakers all year. But bro, this is tough. It's tough. But y'all lost to the Lions. Carolina was on a bye this week, obviously 5-7, and then Atlanta, we're sitting at 12 at 5-7. Now, If we lose one game, because Seattle's a full game behind us right now at 4-8. New York and Chicago technically are right there, but both those teams don't have a shot in hell. In Detroit is the only team that is mathematically eliminated at this point. There's one like really crazy way that involves everybody losing and a bunch of ties and shit. It's not happening. So damn near Detroit's eliminated. Chicago and New York by proxy just should be eliminated. There's a way, because I think the Giants faced Dallas and the Washington football team twice in this last 5-6 game stretch. So like they have an outside chance of winning the division at 9-8, but it would take the Cowboys imploding and Washington imploding is not far-fetched, but it would take Dallas imploding. Technically, the Giants still have a chance to get in. Playing tough defense, playing hardball, like they have a way to get in. But they would literally have to go 9-8. They would have to win out. Seattle would also have to win out at 9-8. But even with all those other teams, we've got 5 games left. Carolina absolutely have to win. It's non-negotiable. Got to beat Carolina. Then with the 49ers, we're going to San Fran. We got to beat them. That is a pivotal win, because not only does it boost us up, but it knocks them down. Then we're facing the Lions at home. That needs to be a win right there. Another NFC win. The Bills game, and I hate to say this about a football game, because every game is important, every game matters. But in terms of getting us into the playoffs, this game doesn't overly mean too much. And we could take a loss there and still get in at 9-8 while beating the Saints. We've got to go 4-1 to make the playoffs. 3-2 does not cut it, because that would give us another NFC loss against, doesn't matter who, it would knock us out. And no one's getting in at 8-9, I don't think. So 9-8 has to be the goal. We got to go 4-1 over these last 5 games. Any loss, and we're pretty much at the mercy of someone else getting into the playoffs. Any loss to an NFC team, we're at the mercy of everyone else. You don't want to put your hands in the fate of other people. You want to control your own destiny. The NFC teams left, we have to beat. But it is an incredibly soft schedule. Carolina, Cam can't throw. Cam's shoulder is messed up since what happened with him with TJ Watt. The 49ers, that's going to be a rough game. It's in San Fran. Kyle knows the Falcons. They ground and pound. They run the ball extremely well. That's going to be a rough, pivotal game. The Lions, you have no business losing to the Lions. The Bills, it can be whatever it wants to be, honestly. And see, some people will be like, oh, well, if you lose to the Niners and you beat the Bills, like, no, it doesn't work that way. You won't have the NFC wins necessary to get there. So, like, the Bills game, it's a game. You want to win it, obviously. Of course, you know, to be 10-7 is way better than to be 9-8, of course, obviously. But I'm just being realistic about the team we have, and the Bills are super dynamic at quarterback. And then the Saints. You beat the Saints. If you enter that game at 8-8 and you beat the Saints at 9-8 and go into the playoffs, that is beyond a successful year. 4-1 in these last games. We still control our own destiny. Everything that we want is in front of us. Let's go get it. Now on to my favorite portion, the betting portion. Give me props. And I entered this week 12-15. Not the best. I'm not even finna lie to you. I can't make it sound like it's any better than it actually is. It's 12-15. But I went 3-1 this week. And it puts me at 15-16. If I didn't give out 6 picks for the whole Patriots Thursday night game, it would have been better. But 15-16, right below 500. We just losing a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? Neither of my long shots hit the Matt Ryan or Scotty Miller for the 2+ touchdowns. I don't count those as my overall records because those are just long shots. Those are take $10, turn into $600, like I pointed out in the previous pod. But the Tom Brady passing TDs over 2.5 took that. He likes to pour it on, especially against the Falcons or against anybody he considers inferior opponents. So that was an easy one. Patterson, 50.5 rushing yards, took the over, and the odds on that were delicious because people who don't understand football be like, oh, no, Tampa has the top-ranked rushing defense. No, because they don't face a lot of rushes. So the 50.5 rushing yards took the over, got that. Kyle Pitts, 56.5 yards receiving. I took the under on that one. That was a cash. I got a little nervous, I ain't gonna lie, when he made that big pass. I thought he was gonna take off for the day. But in true Falcons fashion, they just didn't pass to him the rest of the day. So hit the under on that one. And then Matt Ryan, 0.5 interceptions. I took the over. He did not throw a pick. Didn't throw a touchdown, but he did not throw a pick. And so 3-1 for the week. Love your vices. I love betting. And new show, The Bottom Line with Greg Antoine, dropping on Thursday. It's going to be on all social anywhere you can get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Yeah, the Bottom Line. It's a purely betting show. You know, love my vices. We're not just going to talk Atlanta sports. We're going to talk all sports, football, basketball, soccer, boxing, UFC, anything. You know what I'm saying? Is a pure betting show. It's going to go on year round, drop every Thursday, once a week. So definitely check us out. It's called The Bottom Line. If it really takes off, we might do 2 pods, but I ain't talked to him yet. He's going to listen to this and he's going to be like, man, what you sign me up for? But no, I fuck with you, Greg. Anyway, The Bottom Line, check us out. But love your vices, bet responsibly. Don't gamble in a way that's going to put you or your family at risk. But enjoy yourself, enjoy the game, have fun. And now on to some city talk. One of the big points that I've seen a lot when, trying to argue with fans about whether Matt's a good quarterback or not. Everybody has their opinion. Me personally, I've always said Matt's the best quarterback that we've ever had, but it might be time to move on. Most guys don't stay for like 14, 15 years. Like Tom is an alien. I've said that over and over again. But it really focused on the difference between QBR and QB rating. Now, QB rating was really an archaic system that was used. It compiles a list of numbers. It's math, it's geeky, it's nerdy. I'm not even going to get into it because I recorded it and then I was like, you know what? This is way too much math. Basically, you look at a box score. Your completions over attempts, your touchdowns and interceptions. So like if you have a good completion percentage, you completed 65 to 70% of your passes. You have 2 or 3 touchdowns. Touchdowns count for a whole lot. So you have like 2 or 3 touchdowns, and then you have no interceptions. You're really high rating. You know what I'm saying? But there's also like glitches in the system because you can have a game where if you come out and you kneel on the ball every single play, you'll get like a 38.6. But if you came out and you tried your hardest and you threw for like 250 yards, but you were super inaccurate and you had 3 interceptions, your QB rating might be closer to 0. You might be like at 5.6 or something. It really just boils down to the fact of like, it's very formulaic. It's very formulaic and very rigid. And that's why you can watch a guy like Matt Ryan's career rating is like 90.2. And that's in line with Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? To have a 90 plus quarterback rating is seen as seen as a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, his quarterback rating is over 90. Yeah, I think Matt might be like 91 or 92. But when you watch the game, you're like, damn, like you're not able to make the play that we really need to make when we need to make it. And that's where QBR comes in. If you remember one of my very, very early podcasts, I was like, man, you need 7, Matt'll get you 6. You need 6, Matt'll get you 5. That is what's taken into account in QBR. It is a much more comprehensive scale. With QB rating, it goes from 0 to 158.3. 158.3 is a perfect game. For QBR, it goes 0 to 100. And it's just like a grading scale in school. And that's why, if you look at percentage points in the game, Brady had 4 touchdowns in like, what was it? 368 to 297. That's plus 3, 71 more yards. So he has 71 more yards, 4 more touchdowns, and he threw an interception. That interception is what helped drop him down, but his quarterback rating was 112. Matt's quarterback rating was 93. So in the grand scheme of things, like Tom Brady was only about 20 points better than Matt Ryan on this day. Anybody who watched that game, 20 quarterback rating points better. Anybody who watched that game can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that those two probably weren't even playing the same sport that day. Like, in no way in hell. And that's when you look at the quarterback. That's when you look at the QBR. And QBR shows that Tom Brady had an 86.2. First off, with QBR, 50 is average. 50 is an average game. Just line up, you're pretty much just a decent quarterback that day. 75 to 85 is above average, like really good quarterback play. And then 86 plus is really like that legendary status. On the downside, what is it? About 49 to 25 is just a terrible fucking quarterback, and then 25 to 0 is legendarily horrible. Matt fell in the legendarily horrible. He was 23.5. Failure to convert on pivotal third downs. Like I said, we went 9 of 17 on third down, converted over 50%. But we're not converting on third downs when you're down. You're not converting on third downs when your defense just got to stop or got on the field, not being able to capitalize on turnovers. The things that really matter in a football game. That is why QBR is a much more comprehensive stat. And when you look at it, it's why people bag on Matt. You know what I'm saying? Your opponent to have 60 points higher than you in QBR means that like you weren't even fit to be on the same field this day. And if you just look at his comprehensive numbers, you look at any old school metric, he didn't turn the ball over, he didn't throw any touchdowns, but he did lead a touchdown drive and he led a field goal drive. He had almost 300 yards and a very high completion percentage. Matt had a good day. But when you watch the game, you know that like Matt had a terrible day today. It was a bad day. It was a bad game. And QBR helps encompass that. So I feel like it is, I almost personally want to throw out QB rating and only use QBR. So like personally moving forward, that is pretty much how I'm probably going to measure the guys. Probably still mention QB rating just because it is an old school metric. And if anyone gets a 158.3, it's cool. But QBR is a much more comprehensive stat, and it will be used on this show going forward. Because if not anything, I'm a slave to the data. The numbers don't lie. Tell truth for the most part. And so putting the right data out there is really important to me. And it helps bring context to what you see happening. The next point I wanted to talk about was talking to a coach, and he'll remain anonymous because I don't feel like putting out his identity would be helpful to what I'm about to say. But we were talking about the difference between philosophy that you have defensively and your players and how to merge that. He was talking about the fact that like the best coaches are able to merge the fact that like I say I want to play a 3-4, but I have 4-3 personnel, i.e. the Falcons. What I need to do is have a mix of 4-3 and 3-4 looks until I get the personnel in there that is able to run the scheme that I want to run. You basically bake with the ingredients that you have in the kitchen. I feel like too many times on both sides of the ball, we aren't cooking with what we have. We're cooking with what we wish we had. Like, oh man, really wish we had some rice, but we got quinoa. Boil it anyway. Like, no. You gotta prepare it differently. When I look at Arthur Smith's offense, he likes to stretch the ball down the field deep, have a power running game, really build upon the play action, one cut back that is a power runner. Now, he's found out that Cordell Patterson can be that one cut back. Like, he is literally running him in the same type of blocking schemes that he ran Derrick Henry in. And it is extremely effective because, of course, Cordell Patterson is not Derrick Henry. Let's not be stupid here. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in terms of being able to move the offensive line, having the speed to hit the outside, have one cut, read and go, pick your hole, just go straight through it. They're very similar style runners. Both run very upright. Both are excellent at the one cut and go scheme. It is great. The part that the offense is lacking is the fact that Matt has never been a super strong armed quarterback, and he is not overly athletic. Arthur Smith ran with Mariota and then Tannehill back to back. He has always had quarterbacks who had had a dimension to them that allowed them to run the ball. Matt is not that guy. Ain't been that guy, ain't never gonna be that guy. Mariota, now he suffered from basically the same thing that Matt has, where it's not having an overly elite arm. Like Tannehill, say what you want about him. Dude got a cannon. You know what I'm saying? He can definitely fit that ball down the field deep. I see Arthur Smith trying to mold the offense into basically cutting his offense in half, or cutting his field in half, where he would have a 30-yard dig route, or not a 20-yard dig route. He makes that a 10-yard dig route. And it seems as though he's reluctant to call it, and he's calling it regardless of the defense. And it's just extremely frustrating because, like, you're calling that, you haven't changed that play. You just cut the play in half. But the reason you created that play as it was because that's where the hole in the zone was going to be. So at 10 yards, there is that hole in the zone is not there. So Matt is looking to his second read, and he is not athletic enough to reload and then make that second read throw. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is the problem with the offense. With the offense in itself in the passing game. Arthur Smith Jonnu Smith utilized his tight ends greatly and can't seem to find a way to get Kyle Pitts the ball unless it's on BS drag routes. BS drag routes. Like, you're not putting him into formation. You're lining him up damn near at slot all the time. All the time at slot. Jonnu Smith lined up at slot in 40%. Less than 40% of his snaps. Kyle Pitts is lined up at tight end less than 40% of his snaps. What are you doing? It's baffling to me. And then on the defensive end, Dean Pease he's calling plays like he has Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and company out there. Tony Siragusa, like, no, there are no Vince Wilforks on this team, my boy. Like, none of that. None of that. And people want to talk about, oh, he's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. He coordinated under Bill Belichick. Like, let's get that straight. That's Bill's defense. All right. When he went to the Ravens, they won a Super Bowl, but they were like a middle of the pack defense. And he had 2 Hall of Famers at that point in time. You want a roaming safety and a lockdown corner. You've got the lockdown corner in name because AJ really needs to step it up. I've been singing your praises for weeks now, man. Don't make me look stupid. AJ needs to step it up. You got the lockdown safety. Debo is not Ray Lewis. He can roam the middle of your defense, but he doesn't stop the run like Ray does at all. Like, he's really, really light. He had like 2 really good booms with Leonard Fournette, but for the most part, he doesn't stop the run. He's good in pass coverage in theory because Tom really exposed him today, but that's playing Tom. That's playing the greatest. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take that with a grain of salt. And you don't have a free roaming safety. You don't. Your safety play has to get better. Has to. They moved Richie Grant into your nickel corner, and he was actually doing pretty good. But that 3 safety look that you have, it ain't gonna last long. You need elite talent at safety. I see a lot of people slotting the kid Hamilton from Notre Dame to Atlanta. That's what Atlanta picking at 8. I hate picking a safety that high, and it would be terrible to go tight end and safety, 2 middle of the field positions in back-to-back years in the top 10. But sadly, it might happen because it's what we need. I would hate for us to be picking at 8 because that means we didn't go 4-1 in the past in the last 5 games to make the playoffs. But I digress. I really think we need to take a strong look at our personnel. Unless you're really just... Now, one thing my coach friend did say was the idea that for the guys that are going to be there, you're shaping what the offense and defense will look like so that regardless of the pieces that are there, this is the offense that you're going to run. And so guys have that expectation built in. And it's easier to run and get the hang of moving forward. I understand that. It just looks really, really bad on the field. It looks really, really bad when you're saying like, hey, I need you to run a cover 2 man concept. Very, very base, very simple. But I'm going to ask you to cover 15 yards in this zone. Like, 2 high safety, I'm going to ask you to cover 15 yards this way. Don't let anyone get behind you. But you've got a corner who is not equipped to run press man coverage in that instance. You're asking the safety to drop back. The dig route is open. You don't have a pass rush. Why are you calling that in that moment? You know what I'm saying? But it's because, like, hey, this is a base defense that I want to be able to run at any and all times. I want to be able to call it. And so, like, I get that part. It looks really, really bad while it's happening. Like, while you're getting to the point to where you can get players who are going to be able to run that scheme. So, this is just something to take into account. City Talk, I am open. My Instagrams, my Twitter is open. QCity11, hit me up. That's where the topics for City Talk come from. It's either like Facebook groups where I'm talking to people, trying to get a pulse on the city, on the teams, or messages into my DMs about like things y'all find interesting about the teams. And if I find it interesting too, I'll talk about them on the pod. Or, and you know, like respectfully, if I don't find enough on the topic that I can expound on, I'll just message you back and forth, you know, privately. The one that I really got today that was interesting was college team greatness influence on pro team with UGA in Atlanta. Now, despite UGA getting smacked in the championship game against Alabama this past weekend, UGA has had an amazing season. I truly believe that a good college team in proximity to a pro team puts pressure on that pro team to perform. Absolutely 100%. And I think it is even higher in metropolitan areas that allow you to do more. Let me explain. Athens is about 45 minutes from Atlanta, 50 minutes from Atlanta, right? People who are Bulldogs fans have been Bulldogs fans for generations. Love the dogs. Like it's a way of life for them. You will see those same people say that they don't like the Falcons. The history of losing Mike Vick, whatever. They'll like the dogs. They won't like the Falcons. The dogs have consistently won 10 plus games every year. If you were to put that into like pro football terms, that's still a double-digit win season every single year, regardless of whether or not they get a national championship, make the playoffs. They're basically like, and this is keep in the cross sport comparison. They're basically like the Steelers of college football, where it's like they may not win the championship every year, but they're consistently there. If you look at teams like the Steelers, they have a loyal, deep fan base that is big and spreads wide because they are consistent winners. So, if you're a Falcons executive, team, whatever, how do you grab those eyeballs? How do you tap into that fan base? Because it's two totally different sports, but you're seeing that there can be an avid base, of fans. How do you tap into that? Consistent winning. The fact that your college team is able to not only consistently win, but take eyeballs away from you puts pressure on you to create a product that people will take time out to watch. You don't directly compete with a college team, but in a sense, you're feeling that pressure from that team. I think that UGA and the excellence that they have, just being in the city, I hope that they win the college football playoffs. Like I said, I'm not a Georgia fan. All truth aside, I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. I'm really excited about Mario Cristobal coming down there. And the reason why is because I have family that grew up in Florida, cousins that went to University of Miami. So I'm a University of Miami fan. But I really hope Georgia wins because I feel like that puts pressure on the Falcons. That puts pressure on the Falcons to come up. The Braves already putting pressure on them. The Hawks put pressure on them last year because in the day and time that we're in, there's only so many hours in a day. People aren't going to devote all those entertainment hours to a product that's not good. If you've watched the last, they've lost 5 at home this year. If you've watched the last 3, stadium has been half empty. Stadium's been half empty. Early in the game, middle of the game, half empty. It's because funds are limited. COVID is real. And no one's going to spend entertainment dollars or eyeballs on a product that is not interesting or good. There's a bevy of things to do. There's so much to do in the city of Atlanta. Like, you can get lost walking to Mercedes-Benz with stuff to do in Atlanta. You want me to go spend 3 hours of a Sunday afternoon when jobs are asking people to work more than ever? Most people have to work weekends to make ends meet. Then on top of that, have side hustles to do. You know what I'm saying? I barely get free time, and the free time I do get that I want to spend watching a good product and rooting for a team, you're putting a bad product out there. When if I make a similar trade-off and sacrifice and take 3 hours of my time to watch an entertainment product, I can be thoroughly entertained by a good product in the same vicinity, i.e. UGA, i.e. Atlanta Braves. I definitely don't feel like it's a rivalry across town thing, but having pro teams and college teams in your vicinity that have excellence definitely put pressure on teams, even though they're out of season. Because I can speak for me personally. I can't buy Falcon season tickets because I have Hawk season tickets. I don't have that amount of disposable income, regardless of them being in separate seasons. I don't have that level of disposable income. When you're looking at it like day by day, some people don't have that level of disposable attention to display on a team that isn't doing what they need to do. And when I can get that level of happiness from a team that's in a similar area, but a different sport or a different season, and then that's the other thing. UGA is in season. They're in season. So it's like, I can watch football on Saturday and be happy, or watch football on Sunday and be sad. Come on. So, very good question. Really appreciated it. Brought on to the pod. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all you do. Follow me at QCity11 on Instagram and Twitter. QCity Media on Instagram and YouTube. And like, rate, review, subscribe. I'm going to get that down. I'm going to say it right at some point. But I enjoyed the ride, you guys. Y'all be safe.
Looking like I hit the lotto. I want a hottie like mulatto. I'm on hand, she on Moscato. I'm in them good till tomorrow. I'm a robber for the Neros. Your little loss, I'ma put you on payroll. You smell that aroma? Design the air, it's a party here. Papa Corona, she moving the body, she working them heels. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what she telling me. Keep a 20 on me in case emergency. I wake up early every morning. Thank the Lord and get the bag. Hustle hard, get the cash. Stack first, then I'm showing my ass. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what she telling me. Keep a 20 on me in case emergency.
My babies, that's who I grind for. That's who I do it for. Like the Navy, that's who I'm toting that iron for. Keep one in the head like a thought, nigga. Yeah, I fuck with Ty, he a boss, nigga. Foot on their neck, I exhaust, nigga. Niggas cross me, so I cross, nigga. Them stripper was lit last night. 500, what it cost, nigga. Shit was really legit last night. Had them hoes at the house, nigga. Instagram, Snapchat, Triller. What they say about Jay, he a go-getter. Used to have them fat sacks in the grove, nigga. Late nights, early morning, my dough, nigga.
You smell that aroma? Design the air, it's a party in here. Papa Corona, she moving the body, she working them heels. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what she telling me. Keep a 20